In this video we'll be continuing with the C# video tutorials. In this video we'll be going over advanced algorithms for sorting and searching arrays. So sorting algorithm is used to arrange data into some order. A search algorithm is a method of locating a specific item in a larger collection of data. The selection sort and the binary search are popular sorting and searching algorithms. So I've done these in Java already, so you can, I think I've uploaded the videos for those. Those should be in the Java data structures series. It's the same thing in C# pretty much. So we talked about it in the notes. So we'll just do an example code. Actually before that, I think we've already done this. So if you want to swap two values, you need 3 variables instead of 2 because they're just going to keep pointing to each other in memory. So we can just do an example of that here. So we can just say private void. We'll just call it swap, and then it'll take 2 parameters. We'll say ref int a and ref int b. You can say int temp points to a points to b, and then b points to temp. So you can't just, if you try to go a points to b and b points to a, nothing's going to happen. They're just going to point to each other. So you need a third temp variable to store the data. So we can try, well, I don't think we really need to go over this. We could. So we could try here we could try to define 2 fields here. So we'll just say that int val points to 0, and we could say private int val2 points to 1. Well, this is a form, so basically it's just going to swap the value, so we'd have to set up like a GUI to display. Actually, we could just call a message box. That's alright, so you guys get the idea, so we'll just continue on. So we'll have to instantiate a few, we'll have to make a form here pretty quick, so we'll just make we'll just add some objects here. So I'm just gonna add, we'll just use a design window quickly to add them. So I'm just gonna click that button in the top right corner to rebuild the solution and rebuild the designer. So we'll have 2 list boxes and 1 button. Okay, so we'll add a list box here to the left. So we'll just click the toolbox. Sorry, I think it's still loading. Okay, so I'll click on system.windows.forms. I'll click the list box tool and then just add it to the form. Okay, so we have 1 list box. We're gonna do 2. So this one, we'll name this one. So we'll name the identifier original list box. You can just set the size to something bigger. Okay, so I'll just set it to 34, and then I'll Control-C that, and then I'll pass one, so I'll put a list box beside it. And we'll call this list box sorted list box. And we'll just add a button in the middle. So we'll just call the button Go button, the identifier name. We'll just change the text of the button to Go. We could just increase the size here. Excuse me, sorry, I have like some dust in my throat. Just have some water here. Okay, so now we have our identifiers, 2 list boxes, and a button, so we'll go to the code. So I'll just delete this method here. So we'll create an event handler for the button. So we'll say go button, and the constructor go button plus equals, actually sorry, so go button dot click plus equals new event handler. We'll pass in 2 parameters here, object sender and event args e. Actually, sorry, what am I doing? So instead of those parameters, I'll pass in here go button underscore click, and then below that we'll have private void go. So we'll make a event handler underneath. We'll say go button underscore click, and we'll pass in here object center and event args e. Okay, so that should be fine. I think we'll have to add, actually we don't need to add using systems, system.io. So we don't need to do that, so we'll just have a method here. So we'll put a method above the event handler. We'll call it private void selection sort. So we'll take a parameter int array. Okay, so here we'll pass, well actually no, not pass, we'll instantiate 2 local variables. So we'll say int min index and int min value. So min index is the index of the smallest value in the scanned area, and int min value is the smallest value in the scanned area as well. So we'll just have a loop here. We'll say for int start scan points to 0, start scan is less than int array.length, and then start scan, int array.length -1, and then we'll say start scan plus plus. So then in the for loop we'll say min index points to start scan. Then we'll say min value points to int array, passing in start scan as an index. So we'll say min value points to int array of array index start scan. Okay, so now we'll, what else are we going to say here? So I think we're going to have a nested for loop for this. So we'll just go down here. Sorry, some of the text is getting cut off, so I'm just trying to make that fit here. Okay, so we have our outer for loop. And we're going to need, actually before we start nesting, we're going to have to access those local variables that we created at the top. So we'll say min index So in the for loop here, actually we already did that. Okay, so min index points to start, excuse me, so min index points to start scan, and min value points to int array of array index start scan. Okay, so then in the loop underneath that, we're going to nest another loop. So we'll say for int index points to start scan +1, and index is less than int array dot length index plus plus. And here we'll say if int array of array index index is less than min value, and we'll say min value points to int array of array index index, and min index points to value. Sorry, min index points to index. Okay, under that we're going to call swap. So I'll just comment it. So we'll just say we're going to call swap here. We're going to have a method call, so before we uncomment it, we'll create the method. So the one we actually just created, I could have just kept that, but that's okay. So under that we'll just do it again. So here we'll say private void swap. We'll pass in ref int a and ref int b. Okay, so we'll have int temp points to a points to b, and b points to temp. Okay, now we'll go back up and call the swap method here, so we'll call swap. So we'll say swap ref int array, passing in array index of min index. Then comma will pass in ref int array of array index start scan. There's an error somewhere. Let me just check where it is. Okay, so it's in line 43. Are we still in the function here? Okay, let me just see. I think we might still be in the function. No? Yeah, I think we're still in the method here, sorry, so let's just take that out. I'll cut it. Move the square, move the bracket up. Then I'll put that underneath. Okay, now it's fine. Okay, so that should be fine. So here we'll pass. So here we'll go to the event handler, go button underscore click. So we'll instantiate an int array named numbers. Points to, we'll just have some numbers, some random numbers. You can just add like 6 of them. And here we'll use a for loop, so we'll say for each int val in numbers. We'll call the list box, so we'll say original list box dot items dot add. We'll pass in val as a parameter. Then we'll call underneath selection sort. Selection sort. We'll pass in numbers as an array. Whoops. as a parameter, we'll pass a numbers array as a parameter, and then we'll have another for each loop below. So we'll say for each int val in numbers again. And we'll say sorted, so we'll call the sorted list box now, sorted list box dot items dot add value. So it's just going to sort the items from one list box. When you click the button, it's going to sort the items in one list box and show the sorted values in the other list box. And we'll say value here. Oh, sorry, val. There's an exit button which we don't need. But if we had, we could just pretend we have one. So we'll just go. To remember, in an exit button, we just call this .close to close the form, or to end the app. You just call this .close. So you can make that as like an exit or cancel button. Okay, so that should be fine. So we'll just have. Okay, so let's just talk about what's happening here. So we have this selection sort. So the selection sort calls swap. So swap's going to swap the values when you need to. So what's a sort? A sort's going to take a bunch of values, for example, like these ones, and it's going to sort them. Like maybe I should, we have two of the same values, so let me just change one. So a sort's going to basically just arrange the numbers from either, I think from smallest to largest. But there has to be, since it's data, you have to basically like kind of loop through the data and change the array indexes. So that's what happens, and then when you click the button, it's just gonna kind of show that in a graphical user interface. Okay, so let me just run it to make sure that it works. Okay, yeah, so it works. So when I click the button, it shows the values in the left list box that are unsorted. And when I click the value, it sorts the values and passes them to the other list box, and there's no exit button. So we could just see if this works without the ref keyword. You might need the ref keyword. We can just test if you need it or not. I think we only called ref. I'll just maybe make a comment where we added them, where we used the keyword. So I'll just say used ref here and then used ref here. I think we called it one. Did we use? No, we didn't use it. Ref there. Okay. So we just used ref in selection sort. Just in those two places. So I'm just going to take it out and see if it works. It might not work because we're using arrays. There's no error, so let's just try and see if it works. Okay, so the values weren't able to sort without the ref keyword, probably because they're passing the array as a parameter. So we'll just uncomment that. So that's pretty much it. In the next tutorial, we'll be going over the binary search algorithm. So it's different than the selection sort algorithm. So these are data structures. There's a bunch of different searches and sorts. So if you guys like the video, you can like and subscribe to support the channel for more programming and investing tutorials. In the next video, we'll be going over the binary search algorithm. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. Alright, take care. Thanks.